Okay, this is one of the other machines I have here. And here's another. This one is a lot of fun. And yet another. Another nice machine. It's not cheap to run. Benjamin, do you have something to say to the camera? Would you like to talk to the camera? Well, you don't have much to say now. How come? Play, play, play. That's Ben's life. Play, play, play. Play, play, play. Okay, so those are the three I have here. But today we're going to talk about that one down there. And Benjamin, yes. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the little machine. I bought this 2 years ago because we had bought off-grid property that needed a road put in, and it was just too expensive to bring any of our big machines that far. They would need a low bed, and that's just not cheap. So it was about a $30,000 job up there to get that road put in by somebody else. I bought the machine and bought the trailer and put the road in myself. It took about a month and saved us about 30 grand. So that's why I have the machine sitting here. Okay, one of the things that makes these things good is that they sip fuel. As in comparison to the big case up there, this 5-gallon pail lasts basically all day. The case, a 5-gallon pail, lasts about an hour. Repairs, way cheaper for this than for the case. The lines, everything, way cheaper. Not that I would know because it hasn't actually broke yet. The only thing I've done in this is change the oil. Now this machine, it's about, I believe it's around 7,500 pounds. So when I put it on the trailer, it's another 2,500. So about 10,000 pounds, and I have no problem pulling it with a regular 1-ton truck. Now the one thing that did surprise me is these things are not cheap to buy. This one's a 2004, but they seem to hold their value really well. But this machine cost the same as that big 30,000 pound case up there. The good thing about these, well, one of the good things is they don't make a big mess like the big machines. And when they do make a mess, you can actually make the mess look pretty good using that blade. I wish the big machines had blades, because you can backblade and make everything look smooth and beautiful. There's a few disadvantages, one being that these things just aren't good in the snow, especially on side hills in the snow. It's like putting ice skates on. You could probably get tracks that would be for snow, I imagine. These tracks, not so much. Another disadvantage is that these tracks seem to fall off more often until you figure out what's causing them to fall off, and then you just don't do that as much. Like one thing I noticed is when you're on hard ground and there's rocks that won't sink into the ground when you drive over them, they tend to throw the tracks off. Same as getting close to trees, the roots, they throw the tracks off. Benjamin, you got my rope. You're dragging my rope everywhere. So just like big machines, they got a counterweight. They're way more stable than I thought they would be. This one here, I would have rather had the enclosed cab, but this is just the one I found. There isn't many around here in Canada, well, British Columbia. But, well, the enclosed cab, they're kind of funny looking. They look like a telephone booth with tracks. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. One of them being that this, there's always going to be somebody around when you're working, usually anyways, and with this you can hear them. They say something to you, you hear them. Enclosed cab, not so much. The other thing about the enclosed cab, one of the other things, is that machine up there has an enclosed cab. I put a new front window in it, $600, and a couple of weeks later it wasn't new anymore. Tree hit it and smashed it, so that's another thing. And they tend to fog up and whatnot, so I don't know. To each their own. Given the choice, I would take an enclosed cab though. So now the bucket, it takes about 2 minutes to change. It's just that one bolt right there, and 2 little pins. I have a cleanup bucket as well that quite often I'm going back and forth between the 2 buckets, and it's no biggie with this. Another thing is, it's nice to have the thumb. And as you can see, it's John Deere colors. Why would that be? Because Hitachi is actually a John Deere. If you look at the 2004 John Deere 35, you'll see the only difference between this and it seems to me to be the color. Otherwise, same thing. When I buy my oil filters, whatnot, I get them from John Deere. Now, I plan on making a few videos with this. How to run it, what all the controls are, maybe a few videos of what it can do, doing different things. They'll all be on my channel eventually. So I won't say I'm an expert, but I have run many different machines. Well, here I have 4 right now, but I've run everything: skid steers, front end loaders, a multitude of different mini excavators, and all in the forest. It's where I live. It's where I work, and it's where I play. So one of the videos I'm going to make is going to be shimming the pins. It's something that everybody that has one has to do eventually, so I'll make a video on that. And any other repairs that pop up. So far, in the 2 years I've had it, no repairs have popped up, so just oil change, that's it. And, well, I grease it every time I use it before I use it every time. So now, why is this better than, say, a backhoe, for instance? Well, even a 4-wheel drive backhoe does not like muck. They sink down and they're stuck in muck. This thing here, kind of, well, it does. I have sunk it up to the belly pan, but I can always get it out. Between having the front blade and the bucket, you can lift yourself out of pretty much anything. But then you might say, well, then why isn't a Bobcat better than this? Bobcat doesn't dig. No bucket on a Bobcat. That's the main thing. This digs, and it's I think the reach is 13 feet, so when I pick up a scoop of dirt, spin around, that's putting it 25 feet away. So it does move dirt. But that too is a disadvantage, whereas with a backhoe you have a bucket and you can bucket dirt. This you don't. You have your cleanup bucket, which is about double the size of that bucket. But that is one place where it falls short, is having to move large amounts of dirt. It's okay if you have a dump truck or some similar facsimile. So from start to finish, it takes me about 10 minutes to load this thing up on the trailer and have it all chained down and ready to go. You could probably see on some of my first videos it was a bit of a learning curve between the big machine and this one. You know, the buttons are in different spots and it's just slightly different. So older videos not going to be as good as the upcoming videos. The newer ones, I'll be showing just how big of a tree I can push over, you know, that sort of thing. I have a lot of trees that need to be removed, and there's nothing safer than using a mini for that. As far as I'm concerned, if a tree's leaning the wrong way, you dig a bit, you push it, and you make it lean the right way. And then you can either go in with a saw, or you can just dig around and flop it right over. But there's many different uses for this, and I'll try to cover some of them in future videos. Okay, I guess I've showed enough of the little toy for now. Let's move it out of the middle of the driveway. Throttle's right there. Oh, nothing works until you push down this. One thing that's funny about these things is I still haven't learned it. I've been running these things for a long time. Well, it's not that I haven't learned it, it's that you always forget. When you spin around, your controls become backwards. I gotta disable that beeper. It drives me nuts. You can use your feet, but it's just uncomfortable. Park it, I like to stretch the bucket right out. Reason for that is because it brings the cylinders in, so they're not out in the weather as much. Okay, now I guess that's it for the video for now. Check back later, there should be some more.